Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Faith. Remember me, the HR professional based in Toronto, Canada. If this is your first time of stopping by, the question is, where have you been? I am so excited today. Like today, I am super excited because I have my very first guest. I mean, it's been a long time coming, I love collaborations. I love working as a team, and this has just been, one of the things that I've always wanted to do. So I have my very first guest. Before I unveil him, I would just say that, he's someone who is also an HR professional, and he's based in Alberta. So yeah, this is across provinces. So that's really exciting. So drum roll, please. My guest. Hi, David.
Hi, how are you? How's it going?
I'm well, thank you.
Like you said, long time coming. Yes. So, we're finally here.
We're finally here. I mean, so yeah, do you want to introduce yourself to I'll leave you to do all the talking. So yeah, you will be the one to introduce yourself to my guests.
Fantastic. I'm more than happy to do so. My name is David. I work in HR. It's been my passion, and I've been in HR since 2009. I've worked in different diverse industries. I've worked in telecommunications. I've worked in financial services. I've also worked in power and energy as well. And all my career has been HR business partnering, right? From a very junior position in MTN back in the day, right? That was my very first employer till I left Nigeria with an energy company, right? So yeah, it's been a fantastic journey and a fantastic ride. Currently, I'm in Alberta and I work in an energy company as well, and it's been a tremendous journey, right? So I'm also certified, because in our profession, it's how you validate.
Rub it in my face, I know.
No.
Go ahead.
No, but I mean, in our profession, in our line of work, I mean, it's how you tell them, hey, what, I know my stuff. So
of course,
I'm certified, in Nigeria and US, even here in Canada as well, right? So yeah, it's been a fantastic 1 year, 10 months, right? Because that's how long I've been here in Canada, right? And my HR journey has been nothing short but fantastic. But you know what? We'll get into the details as we go along. But yeah, that's it. That's it about me.
Great. I mean, you've done a better job than I would have. So yes, thank God I wasn't the one that did the introduction. But funny story, David and I actually have a lot of mutual friends in common. We actually worked at one of the big fours together, and we had no idea because our paths never crossed. And then we got chatting on WhatsApp, and we're like, I worked here at this time to this time. And he was like, oh, I worked here. I know this person. I mean, that's to tell you that it's a very small world, right? So
correct.
So I mean, you never know. Just keep doing you, because you never know when your paths will cross with someone that probably knows you from somewhere or knows someone that you know. So yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Today is about you, David. So, today we're just going to talk about Alberta, because I know, when people hear about Canada, most times they think of Ontario, they think of maybe the Torontos of this world, and they forget that, look, there are other provinces that are happening, as in so maybe we should start from your journey, what made you decide to come to Canada? Let's start from there, and then why Alberta?
Yeah, I mean, thank you. That's a very good question, because it's a question that a lot of people who intend to leave the country, leave Nigeria, leave wherever they are. It might not just be Nigeria. It's a question that everyone has to answer for themselves, right? So for me, what made me decide to leave Nigeria? Because I was doing work that I loved, right? Every upward mobile professional in Nigeria can relate to this. You're doing work that you love, but then the opportunity comes for you to move to a different country, and should I take it? Should I uproot my life from here? Right? I was a business partner, like I said, at a very large company. I was, part of exciting projects. I got the chance to apply a lot of theoretical knowledge, right? To live situations, and I was fulfilled, doing what I loved. But with all the work also came, stress, right? And the stress wasn't as much career related than it was, more environmental. Because I recall I would fall sick a lot. I'd visit the hospitals, and most of the time, the diagnosis was always, you're stressed. You need to take it easy. You need to take things easy. I sat down and I thought, you know what? Um, is this the quality of life you want to keep living, right? As you progress, is this the kind of life you want to give your kids? Is it the only option that they would have? And I was like, you know what? It might be. There's always that uncertainty before you leave Nigeria, but you just have to take the bull by the horn, right? And for me, that was the moment I decided. I think I had visited the hospital every day for a week at a point.
Oh.
And prior to that, I had I had family who had just migrated here to Canada, right? And they said, "Hey," and she says, "Oh, that's my sister, by the way." She says, "Hey, you're young, you're upwardly mobile, you're the right age, you have the qualifications. What are you still doing in Nigeria? What are you still doing in that
Right.
country, right?" And at that point, I decided to move, right?
Right.
And Alberta was the natural choice for me because, like I said, my sister had moved a year before I came.
Mhm.
Before I moved here, she was living in Alberta with her family. So I decided, hey, you know what? I was also one of those people who wanted to go to Toronto. Right, I wanted to go to Toronto. I'd heard of the life. I had heard, this is Lagos extension. But
Exactly.
I told myself, you know what? Even while I was in Lagos, I always told myself, hey, I wanted to live in Ibadan because the hustle and bustle
Yeah.
of Lagos. At the point, I kind of got tired of it, or it became old, so to speak. So I decided, let me just see what's obtainable in Alberta. And to be honest, it's been a fantastic experience for me. What I would say, one of the things I like about Alberta is standard of living.
Mm.
I guess that's what I would say. I've compared what people do on certain incomes here in Alberta versus what someone on the same income is able to do, say maybe in Toronto, right? And it's worlds. The difference is worlds apart, right? So standard of living here is quite fair, I would say, right? I know that there was a survey, and this was part of the information that informed my staying, because even when I moved to Alberta, I had the option of leaving as well, right? I
Right.
had the option of
Oh.
moving to a different province, but then I said, you know what? I saw a report then that says the median salary for someone in Alberta, for someone who lived in Alberta, was about, or who worked in Alberta, was about 98,400, the median income, right? So a lot of people earn below or above, but that's the average, right? And I was like, with 98,000, and the things on ground, with the quality of living I see on ground, right?
Right.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
But then I also know
Yeah.
people who earned that amount in other cities. Not like they weren't living comfortable, but not as nice as
Of course. Yeah.
someone living in Alberta does. Well, the only thing about Alberta that everybody agrees can be a bit of a hassle is the weather.
Mm.
It's the cooler part of the country, one of the cooler parts of the country. We get snow before anyone else, and we get summer after everyone else. Right?
Wow.
So that's it really, and that was my motivation for leaving Nigeria and also picking Alberta.
Huh,
Living, yeah.
interesting. I mean, I always tell people that, look, when it comes to like standard of living, if you live in Toronto, it's quite high. So like, you would, yeah, you might earn well, you might get the good jobs, but when you have to like pay bills and your rent and all of those things, it's, yeah. So I mean, it's good to hear that there are there are provinces like Alberta where at least you can earn well, and you can at least live relatively well. So I mean, I think that's a catch. So guys, if you want to move to Alberta,
Mm-hmm.
start gearing up. I mean, Ontario is good, but it's not everything. There are other places that you can also have
Mm-hmm.
a very good quality of life and be happy with yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah. So okay. So in terms of like maybe what are like the fun places in Alberta? Like, are there, what do you do for fun
Oh.
there?
Oh yeah, I mean, Alberta has a few, definitely not as much as say Toronto, right? But Alberta has a few places you can, and I'm not sure if I would cover everything, but people who live here who probably watching this video can probably even mention a lot more
Mhm.
places. But there's quite a few places you can visit here in Alberta, right? We have the zoos. Our zoos are kind of popular here, especially
Oh,
especially the Calgary Zoo. The zoo is a popular destination. We have Banff, right? Banff is kind of like the best way to describe it to be a resort in the mountains, right?
oh,
It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. On as a person, it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. You get to have breakfast, lunch, dinner on top of a mountain. There's a restaurant on a
I don't know if that's
mountain,
fun for
right?
you.
Where you can but yeah, it's fun. Like, I mean, you can also visit Lake Louise as well. We also have
Mhm.
Jasper. These are like resort destinations. We have quite a
Mhm.
number of resort destinations. I
Mm.
also like a place. There's a place called Slivian Lake. You can go there if you're a fan of water sports, for instance,
Right.
jet skis, stuff like that. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie myself,
I
so
see that.
so it's definitely an attraction for me. I know that a lot of there's for those people who like the nightlife, right? Calgary, Edmonton, has a budding nightlife. You can there's clubs. You want to visit clubs if that's your thing. You can visit
Right.
clubs and lounges as well. Then you can there's a lot of outdoorsy activity here as well. You can go camping. I've gone camping a couple of times. I've gone fishing as well.
Wow.
I've gone camping. I've gone fishing. And the rationale behind that too is, I mean, you've try something new. You're in a different place, new country.
Right.
Try something, experience, create new experiences. Right. Next on my
Mhm.
bucket list is skydiving as well. So that's something.
I was gonna say skydiving. Like, you look like someone that would, do one of those things. Oh my gosh, that's not something that I don't know if it's
Yeah.
ever going to be, but yeah,
No,
it
no,
sounds like
no.
fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things that not everybody. It's not very popular, right?
Right.
It's not a popular pastime to partake in. And then one of my other favorite places to visit here in Alberta is a place called Drumheller. Drumheller is the site for the largest archaeological finds for dinosaur fossils here in North America. Right. So if you're interested in things like that, like you want to see dinosaur bones, you would see the largest you see the largest ones here at Drumheller, right? So it's a and there's other places that I fail to remember now that you can visit when here in Alberta as well, right? So it's
Wow.
and then if you're part of certain communities too, because
Mhm.
Nigerians, we also have certain Nigerian communities here in Alberta, right? Something that helps with integrating in the system is also finding people who have done it. People
Right.
who've come ahead of you,
Mhm.
right? It's a nice way to integrate into the system, and you'd get to experience as much as you open your mind to,
Mine too.
right?
Okay.
So
I
that's
mean,
it.
honestly, this is you said quite a lot. And I think one of the things that I want to mention, which is key from what you said, is the fact that people, some people when they relocate, when they
Mhm,
get here, they want to like separate themselves from like the
mhm,
Nigerian community. But I think that it is very important to have that community and be a part of that community because it helps you settle better. Like you said, you're meeting
mhm.
with people who have done it, who have successfully settled in. Those are some of the things that some people do not really, they when they come here,
Yeah,
they're like, I'm done with
yeah,
I'm done with people
yeah,
from my home country, so bye bye. They want to
yeah.
move with like the guys here. I mean, that's okay,
Mm.
but it's still important to have that Nigerian community. So
Oh,
yeah.
Of of course, very, very important.
Mhm.
And the reason why is because I will just say this very briefly is
Yeah.
sometimes you don't need to make a mistake yourself, right? You can
Exactly.
learn from others who have come before you. And
Mhm.
there's no better way to learn from a fellow immigrant, right? Someone who was here a year or two before. They can go, oh, don't buy a house that way, right? Don't buy
Exactly.
that house. This is why, right? They will tell you because they know they made those mistakes. So if you shy away from, mixing with the Nigerian community, African community, you might be doing yourself, a lot of disservice as well. And to be
Exactly.
honest, I'll tell you for a fact, I don't know how it is anywhere else, but here in Alberta, I find that Nigerians are extremely helpful. Nigerians are extremely helpful. I've gotten tips from people I met one day and I've never met them before. I've never spoken to
Mm.
them before, and those tips have saved me a world of trouble. They've saved me from a world of trouble, a world of pain, right? So it definitely helps. I mean, it's nice to mix with people outside, but
Yep.
outside your community, the community you're used to. I definitely did that. But it's also nice to also speak to people who can relate to your story, so to speak. It helps, it
Exactly.
helps your journey, it helps your journey make sense, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay,
Mm.
so now let's talk about the more serious stuff, more
Mm.
like the thing that I know that is at the back of people's minds because yes, fun places are great, but when my brother, when you don't have that money to spend, you cannot
Correct.
you cannot even enjoy that your skydiving and all those plenty things that you have mentioned.
Correct.
So
Correct.
can we talk a bit about the job market? At least good thing you're in human resources, so you definitely are an expert at this. So it will be good to hear from you. Like what sort of jobs are there? What sort of job opportunities are there in
Mhm.
Alberta? So that people coming can know that, oh, okay, this is probably a
Yeah.
place that I might want to settle. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, that's a fantastic question too, and it's one of the most important questions. I think one of the factors that you need to consider before you choose a place to settle as well, right? Depending on your situation. So, for me, that was one of the considerations for staying in Alberta too, because
Mm,
for my profession, which is HR, of course, there are a lot of HR jobs here in Alberta, right?
yeah.
There are HR jobs being posted on a daily basis in their hundreds in Alberta, right? But let's even go outside HR. What are the other occupations that you can find here in Alberta? We are seeing a current boom in tech here in
Okay.
Alberta, right? Anyone who knows the province well would tell you that um, the mainstay for the province is oil and gas, right? Alberta is an oil and gas rich province. That's our bread and butter.
Right.
But what it is that has kind of been on a decline because I've heard stories from people who were here, say maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, and even while I think Alberta is great now, they tell me that it's a shadow of itself in the sense that there was a time when people were leaving Toronto to come work in Alberta. That's
Right.
how good it was, and that's because of the oil boom, right? At the time, right? The oil prices were good, and there was a high demand for oil related jobs within that industry, right? So, but what we're seeing now is we're seeing tech make a move right into Alberta, right? So for instance, we've seen Tesla. Tesla just had opened a factory here, right? I even saw a HR position that I might apply for. But yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of tech jobs, open
Yeah.
here in Alberta. So if you're a software engineer, this is a province for you. I know the attraction is to go to Toronto, but we're beginning to see that shift happen here. So we're having a lot of tech jobs here in Alberta. There's a lot of jobs within, say, the banking and financial services sector here as well within Alberta, right? And then the oil and gas industry is still huge here. So you'd
Right.
find the oil and gas industry and healthcare are probably
Okay.
the biggest sectors here in Alberta, and you'd find a lot of jobs within those sectors. So depends on what you do. If you're an engineer, um, Alberta is one of those cities where I would say the number of engineers per capita is quite high, right? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would meet 20 engineers before I met an HR person, right? Or even,
Right.
so it's there's a lot of engineers, who settle here in Alberta, especially if you have oil and gas experience.
Mm-hmm.
Then tech, like I said, software development, that sort of thing. Business analysis is huge
Okay.
here as well, right? If you're a business analyst or aspiring business analyst, Alberta is also a place for you to consider as well, because we're seeing and a good thing to note too is Nigerians have a fantastic reputation as far as business
Mm.
analysis is concerned here in Alberta, right? We have a couple of people who are making waves in that industry, right? In Alberta, and based off of it's like riding on their goodwill, so to speak.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
it's like riding on their goodwill. So we have business analysis is one of those areas that you'd consider. And like I said, HR is also booming here in Alberta. We have a lot of HR jobs, a lot of HR positions, open here in the business. Sorry, in the province, and
Province.
it's something that you should consider, if because I'm seeing a lot of people switch or move to HR when they
Yep.
leave Nigeria now.
Yeah.
It's a common trend, right?
It
Especially
is.
people who were in the business administration, office administration space, they move here and I want to move into HR, which is nice, and that's usually the normal progression, right, into HR as well. So that's kind of like it's like my short tidbits, right, on popular professions here in Alberta, right?